Well, I've had nothing but a massive amount of technical issues as I've been trying to get something out about this Proposition 1. I'm just going to make it pretty short. Okay, first of all, when you read the actual ballot measure, it actually says, under current law, voters vote for a single candidate in each office, and the candidate with the most votes wins. If you're not smart enough to figure out from that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, that's just normal, that's constitutional, okay? Why would you change something that basic, okay? Secondly, they lie about it. They say that people are being denied the right to vote. That's a lie. They're saying that people can't vote in primaries. I got news for you, folks. Anybody can vote in any primary of their choosing. Okay, nobody's being, especially denied the right to vote. That's an absolute lie. And they're couching it with those kind of words. Then, if they have to be dishonest about how they're packaging it, then you should be suspicious. Okay. The Communist Party USA has officially come out and stated that they support ranked choice voting. Also, it's from the very outset of this whole thing, these vermin that are lying about this have been pushing it as an open primary law, and they haven't even been talking about ranked choice voting. They went as long as they could without even mentioning it, and that is the biggest sweeping change. That is gutting the whole election system in Idaho and replacing it with something where you have to vote for 4 candidates. And if you just vote for one candidate because perhaps there's only one candidate you want to vote for, guess what? Your ballot gets thrown out. This system has literally put people that got the least amount of votes in this 4 candidate choosing system in office where they've actually won. The guy or gal who got the most votes didn't win the election. And they explain it like this. They say, well, if somebody gets over 50% of the vote, then they're in. Well, it's very common in elections for the winner to get 42% of the vote, and maybe the person that ran against them gets 38% of the vote, right? So now the guy that gets 48% of the vote or whatever, who's the clear winner, and there's a few other people that got a smaller amount of the votes, okay, he doesn't win anymore. And this is the sneakiest part of all. By insisting that we flood the whole pool with everybody voting for 4 candidates and you divide those votes up, guess what? Gee whiz, now there's not even a chance of anybody getting over 50% of the vote, right? And the votes are, as they eliminate the bottom person, are redistributed up the line. And that gets the other person that comes up, all of a sudden they win the election. And that's after a computer does all these calculations. Computers and voting systems that we will have to spend millions of dollars on. Probably voting systems from the Chinese that I don't trust. When the way it is right now, every single person has the freedom to vote unless they're banned for some reason, like whatever it is, the law is now as far as felons or whatever, I don't even know. But they are absolutely lying. They are lying about the whole thing, okay? I don't want to list 4 candidates. People always say, well, there's no good candidates anymore. Oh, really? Well, guess what? You have to come up with 4 now. 4 candidates. Not only that, and this is the thing about the open primaries, anybody can vote in any primary, and Democrats in Idaho massively vote in the Republican primary because they're trying to dilute the pool in the Republican Party to get their so-called Republicans in there, because they know in Idaho they cannot win with the title Democrat after their name. They're fully aware of this. All right, so what they're trying to do is infiltrate the Republican Party and take it over and change the face of it. And I literally have had people on social media like Twitter literally just laughing in my face saying, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. As a matter of fact, we are heavily in the Republican Party right now, and it is absolutely true. But in Idaho, people are so asleep that they just see an R after somebody's name and they think they're good. And then they do not pay any attention to what happens during the legislative session every year. And your so-called Republicans are voting to mutilate children, right? They are voting against simple measures like, hey, in the library, why don't we take the graphic sexual stuff and put it in a section where the kids can't get to it? You know what they call that? They call it book banning. I don't know, but when I was a kid and I went down to the local drugstore and the Penthouse and Playboys were held up high with a little panel over them so I couldn't see it very well. And I really wanted to when I was a little kid. I was really curious, right? I don't think that was book banning. I think it was appropriate to keep certain explicit sexual material out of the hands of kids. You know, like the books that show little boys and teaching them about how to give, blowjobs and anal sex and all that kind of garbage. All right. That's just reasonable stuff. It's not book burning. There's no such thing. From the side of people that constantly try to censor free speech like crazy, they're the ones that are saying, oh, you guys are book banning. You know, you're book burners or whatever. Well, that's a lie. So they always have to lie. The people behind this ranked choice voting have to lie. They have to literally lie to market it. And all this money that's behind it is massive, and it's from out of state. Okay? Millions of dollars are being poured into Idaho from out of state sources to try to get this thing through. Why do you think that is? This is an insidious plan to turn Idaho blue. Now, there's other videos out there that are a lot better than mine that go into intricate detail about all the horrific things that go into this open primary lie and this ranked choice voting. As a matter of fact, Alaska really has got buyer's remorse. And in fact, it's back on their ballot this election cycle to vote to remove it. And I guarantee you Alaska is going to give it the heave-ho. Anybody that has it hates it, and they're stuck with it. If Idaho Proposition 1 passes, there's no turning back. There is no turning back. Idaho will go blue. We're basically going to be like Portland, and that's not an exaggeration. That is not an exaggeration. People, you need to start paying attention. Idaho, you need to start paying attention. If you vote for Proposition 1, or you just sit the vote out, it's going to be, okay, I don't want to be misquoted here, a bloodbath, but there's going to be like blood on your hands, figuratively. You're going to be the ones, you're going to be the people who are responsible when just a year down the road, let alone a couple years, people like me are going to be saying, I told you so. I'm sorry, but you know, we need to hold all of you responsible, and you people that have been lying and promoting this thing, man. You know, I don't know how you sleep at night. I don't know how you have a conscience, but to put it out there as a lie, to take advantage of people and say, don't you think everybody should have the right to vote? However, if you're stupid enough to not question that, if before this came along, if you did not think to yourself, well, God, you know, I think we should scrap the whole voting system. I would rather vote for 4 people. I would rather be forced to vote for 4 people. And this is how insidious and how bad of liars that they are. They literally will answer the question and, you know, well, do we have to vote for 4 candidates? And they'll say, no, you can still vote for just 1 candidate. Guess what they leave out? You know, yeah, but your ballot will be thrown out. What? Yeah, your ballot will be thrown out. Does that sound like better representation of people? I don't think so. And the funkiest part of it all is these are the people that want to get rid of the electoral college. You know, when they don't get the popular vote, they scream and yell for the popular vote. And then in Idaho, they're like, "Oh, I don't need the popular vote." You know, we want even distribution. It's not fair that the people who lose, that's what they're saying, the people who lose, they should have a shot at winning after they lose the election. This is literally what these people are saying. You know, if you haven't figured this out yet, there is literally no hope for you. I'm sorry, but you're a complete idiot. You're either immoral and dishonest, or you're willfully ignorant, or, you know, any combination of those two things. Man, anybody that I know, you had better vote against Proposition 1, and you had better be telling your friends and your neighbors about it. There's no excuse. I know everybody, especially conservative Christians, you're the worst. You're the ones that are like, well, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to offend anybody. And, you know, and you take this mamby-pamby approach, you know, Christianity, you know, we need to respect. No, I don't need to respect people who are trying to threaten the future of, like, my granddaughter, you know, and your kids, you know, by greasing the wheels for people to get in there that literally want 6-year-old kids to be able to say, you know, I don't know, Mom, I think I'm a girl. Well, you know what? I think you're right. Let's go down to the doctor and mutilate your genitals. Okay, doctors, any doctors that are performing any of this kind of stuff should be thrown in jail. They should be thrown in jail. Okay, I mean, the Hippocratic Oath, right? First, do no harm. Performing an operation on somebody who's healthy so that they're no longer healthy, puberty blockers, a natural process. Oh, we're going to block that. Oh, let's give testosterone to girls and let's cut their breasts off. And this is happening. And if you vote for Proposition 1, man, I'm telling you what, you're ushering that in. And the people behind it know that. And that's what they want for Idaho. That's exactly what they want. If you look at Portland and you look at San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York and places like that, and you like what you see, then Proposition is for you. But you're my enemy. You are my enemy because you're threatening my state, our way of life, and my family and my friends. You know, the parents that are actual parents, the parents that understand that protecting all kids is protecting your own kids, instead of these morons that are like, well, I'm against it, but I don't think it's my place to blah, 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 whatever, right? Why are you against it then? Well, I'm against abortion, but, you know, I don't think it's my... Why are you against it? Oh, well, I mean, it's taken a human life, but... Oh, really? So, infanticide is becoming an academically acceptable proposition now, and it's not made up. Trump is not making that up. I've heard this stuff showing up in academia for a while, right? And you can use the same excuses, you know. If the person, if it's an infant and they don't feel any pain when you kill her, you can use all the same excuses. Well, you know, I mean, it just didn't work out. Mom wasn't ready to have a baby yet, you know, and oh, you know, the baby had Down syndrome, so, you know, not so much. You know, why don't we just put it to sleep? It's disgusting. It's a human being. I just ask people, were you ever a fetus? You know, oh, you got to be born. You actually got to be born. It's cool for you. Everybody who is pro-choice, everybody who's pro-choice is alive because somebody chose life. That's the only reason they exist, and they can utter their absolute vile, disgusting stupidity and literally don't care about a human life. A human life. Where you're located does not determine your rights. Like if I'm in this house, I have constitutional rights. If I go outside of this house, I have the same constitutional rights. If a baby, a child, is in the womb, they have a right to life. If they're outside of the womb, they have that same right. And this is the worst, most idiotic argument you'll ever hear also, is they'll say, well, it's when it can't, survive, being outside the womb, it's like the whole idea is, whether or not it can survive. A baby cannot survive outside of the womb either, people. If you just give birth to a baby, guess what? I know liberals, you're way too stupid to understand actual science. But if you give birth to a baby and leave that baby, say, laying on the couch, the baby will not survive. It cannot take care of itself. But your idiotic argument is whether or not the baby, could survive without, the support of the womb. First of all, it's not your body, okay? My mom does not have a penis, so therefore it was never her body, okay? Your women's rights doesn't seem to apply to women who are being born, okay? Oh, and men have no right to tell a woman what she can do with her body. Men don't have any rights. You don't have any right over that child, right? Even though the man is equally responsible for the child's existence until they're born, and then that man had better pay. He's a deadbeat dad. Well, you're all hypocrites and liars. And the thing of it is this is the kind of thing that we are absolutely. That's what we're going to be living with if Proposition 1 passes. Proposition 1 is much, much bigger than what they're trying to make it. Like, it's open primary. You can already vote in a primary, okay? You just can't vote in every primary. Otherwise, there is no such thing as political parties. And people will privately say, yeah, that's the idea. They want uniparty. They don't want to eliminate parties. They just want the entire party to be them. Okay? Well, independents, they can't vote. Do you really think that Democrats are all that concerned about independence? They woke up one day and it's just not fair, man. I got friends that are independents and they can't vote in. They're not being represented. You're just an idiot. You're a moron. Yeah, independents, just like you stupid Democrats, can go and vote in the Republican Party. Okay? You just can't vote in every party. Just like, say for instance, I go to a church that's called the Assembly of God. I have friends that go to the LDS church. They're Mormons. Okay? I do not go to the Mormon church and say, listen, man, I have a say. I should have a say in what happens at your stake or your temple or whatever because I'm not being represented in the Mormon church like I should be. And a Mormon should be going to my church and saying, I don't approve of you guys and, you're raising the hands and all that stuff, so I should have a say in the Assembly of God. That's the kind of idiotic, stupid logic that they're using. I don't know how many different ways to explain this. I could think of 1,000 more examples. But if you're so ridiculously stupid that you are aware of these things in this part of this ridiculous attempt to destroy Idaho, then there's no helping you. Then there just literally is. So my thing is, if you understand this, you had better be out there telling everybody. You should be doing what I'm doing and what so many other people are doing. Letting them know this is vitally important. Proposition 1 is every bit as important to us in Idaho as the presidential election is. And I mean that. That is absolute. And it is important to the country. Because Idaho is one of the last dominoes that hasn't fallen yet. And I'm telling you what, if Idaho falls, what's next? You know what I mean? Is Texas going to fall? Are the very few decent states with decent people going to fall? Because when that happens, we're screwed. No IDs for voting. And you know they're purposely flooding Texas to try to turn it blue against the will of the people of Texas. You know they're California. It's against the law now in California to ask for an ID to vote because it's racist. But it's not racist to ask for a vote or ask for an ID if you fly in an airplane. So black people are being discriminated against to fly in an airplane or to buy cigarettes or alcohol or to get and qualify for food stamps. How is that not racist? If it's racist to simply be like, gee, if you're voting, you should be a citizen. And these are the same people that complain about foreign influence, right? They talk about foreign influence, like Russia. And they at the same time promote non-citizens voting. Oh, and by the way, they're the same people that are all about gun control, but they don't want to control the border. That's a great idea. How much arms trafficking do you think is going on at the southern border? They are deliberately trying to get the guns out of the law-abiding citizens and purposely trying to put them in the hands of people who don't obey the law. Don't control the border, but institute gun control. That is just how stupid, not really, how evil they are. The people behind it, they know what they're doing. All the rest of you morons out there are too stupid. And the thing of it is, if somebody brings up these arguments to you, you're oblivious. You know what I mean? You're just that stupid, man. I hate to have such a positive video here, but my God, people, this is my one time I've gotten to finally make a video about Proposition 1, and I just can't even, I'm just baffled that there's anybody that doesn't get this. And I'm baffled that any Democrat is okay with knowing how immoral this is. But then again, they're okay with using the Justice Department for political retribution. They are perfectly okay with prosecutors campaigning on the premise that they are going to get somebody before they even have charges. Whoa. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on the subject now. I got a lot more videos to come out, but I've got to fix the studio up, and things have been very difficult for us lately. But I still had to take the time to at least put one plea out there. And I hope my mic was working okay. Otherwise, this has been a colossal waste of time because I've been having technical issues like forever. So anyway, that's me. That's Man Cave News signing out, telling the truth, telling liberals to basically just shut up and go somewhere else. See you next time.
Proposition 1 will end Idaho as we know it by the title of this trash. You might be fooled and not see it. It's a foolproof way to dilute the pool. The winner doesn't win and we are playing for the flow. Yes. George Soros just ain't ideal. We just wanna vote only once. The person with the most votes no longer wins and we all lose. When the one who wants does not win, believe it or not, the computer takes over and distributes the votes who did not. It's the everybody gets a trophy mentality. But in the end, Idaho goes deep blue, and it's a travesty. Whoa, oh, yes. George Soros just ain't ideal. We just wanna vote only once. The person with the most votes no longer wins and we all lose. When the one who wants does not win, believe it or not, the computer takes over and distributes the votes who did not. It's the everybody gets a trophy mentality.